In this video, I'm going to show you how you can add more pits to any Assetto Corsa track. I haven't seen a tutorial on this anywhere, and it took me about 50 hours to work it out, so I'm going to show you. Now, there are a few prerequisites. Firstly, you'll need Blender. It's free. You can get it online or on Steam. You'll also need KN5 Conv or KN5 Converter. So give that a download. Open it. Then you want to open your track and create a new folder in the track called KN5. Then go ahead and paste the KN5 conv in that. Now go back to your main track directory and copy all of these KN5 files, the ones with the little red icons, and copy paste those into the KN5 folder also. Then what you want to do is run the KN5conv.exe. This will basically convert all of your tracks files into editable files that you can open in Blender. So once Blender is open, go ahead and delete the camera cube and light. I'm going to make this tutorial as if you're a Blender noob like I was when I first started. Now you want to go to import wavefront OBJ. Then go to your KN5 folder that's in your track folder, copy the destination, paste it in here. Now you want to open up all of these OBJs individually because you don't know where the pit slots will be most of the time. So I'm going to go ahead and select the main Hockenheim ring track file, and I'm going to select split by group over here. It's very important that you do that. Import. Now I'm going to use my middle mouse button to rotate the camera, shift middle mouse to move, and it doesn't look like our pit. Oh no, is that the pit? No, that is not the pit. So our pits aren't in the main track file, so we're going to go to import and we're going to select another one. Okay, and we finally got the one with the pits. So as you can see, these little cubes, usually they're a bit bigger. They are AC start 3, 4, 5. And the important thing to note is they start from 0. So if this track, let's say, has 26 pits and I want, say, 32, I'm going to have to make 33 because it starts from 0. So let's click this little arrow up here and select texture. Okay, there aren't any textures. So I'm going to press 7 on my keyboard so we get a proper top-down view. I'm going to Control C, Control V. I'm going to press G to move it. That's our new pit slot. Now, you may notice they've now got the same names. So we're going to find our AC start 26.001 in the side here, and it's neatly with the other pits. I'm going to rename that to pit 27. Now when you're doing this, it's important to click the little drop down and also rename the one inside. If you're adding pits from scratch, they all need to be in capital letters. So now we've got our 27 start slots. We also need to do the same to our pits, to our pit slots. Now there may not be enough space, so what I like to do is select all the pits. Where are they? Here they are. 0 to 26. Now I'm going to press 7 so we get a nice top-down view so we don't mess it up. And I'm going to press Control C, Control V, and then G, and just move them over like this. That's the best you're going to get. All the pits next to each other like this. But as you can see, we've got 2 nice pit rows. Now, of course, this is the most tedious bit. You have to go through and name all of them. So I'm going to rename this one 27, 28, etc. And also rename the drop downs, remember that. So once you've got your 1 extra pit, for the purposes of this tutorial, it's 1 extra for me because I don't want to sit here all day. I'm going to go ahead and delete everything but the extra pit slot. So I'm going to delete, again, everything but the extra pit slot. And as you can see, now we're left with AC pit 27 and AC start 27. And here's the start. So the next thing, and this is pretty important, or else all your cars are going to spawn at the same place. You're going to highlight them both, come up to Object, Set Origin, and then Center of Mass, Surface or Volume. It doesn't really matter with 3D objects, I don't think, which these are. They're little cubes. Then what I'm going to do is go to File, Export, FBX. Now we're going to input the location of our KN5 track folder back in here. I'm going to export it as, let's say, my name extra pits, TSRB pits. Now we're going to go to limit to selected objects, and Make sure your scale is 1, forward is -Z forward, and up is Y up. And that should be about it for Blender. Press export. Now, we're going to go to our Assetto Corsa directory. Assetto Corsa, then you're going to go into SDK, Dev, and for me it's not here, but there should be a folder called KS Editor. If you can't find it, there is a download online, so search for KS Editor download. For some reason, mine's in my downloads folder, well, because I downloaded it. Now we're going to open kseditor.exe. Go to File, open FBX, you know what's coming. We're going to open up the TSRB pits.fbx. Now, I always like to check in here that they've actually got materials. And yeah, you can see down here they haven't got materials assigned to them. So what I'm going to do is go up to, wait, where is it? Materials here. And then we're essentially going to give it a texture. If it's not textured, it won't work. But luckily, when we used the KM5 convert, all of the textures were also converted. So we're going to go into KM5 texture. To be honest, it doesn't matter what texture you give them, but I like to give the ones that were already assigned because, well, I don't know why. So I'm going to do that. Now they've both got textures, so we can go to File, Save KM5 Track. Now we're going to, of course, go back to our main track directory. I'm going to save it as TSRB pits. Click Save, and it is saved successfully. Now, what do? We go back to Hockenheim, open up whichever layout you wanted to add more pits to. So I'm doing the full GP layout. If you wanted to add it to National, Short, you would select that layout, or all of them, it doesn't really matter. So we're adding it to GP, so I'm going to open this, and you will get a file that looks like this. This is basically telling the game what files to load, or what KM5 files to load. So I'm going to copy this bottom one, paste it in, change the model number to 8, and of course change this to TSRB pits, because that's the new file we want to load. But we're not done yet. We need to go up to UI. Now we're going to open the layout again, go to USI track.json, and so we can see here 27. We're going to change that to 28. Now obviously change that to however many pits you added. And if we go to test it, race, so I'm going to add in carts because they're really easy to load and it will allow us to test our new pit. So once we're in, we're going to hit F7 instantly because time is off the edge. And we're going to check that all our cars there. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. So there is our new pit. Now more often than not, this pit would not be facing the right way. Really, we got lucky with this. It would usually be pointing this direction or this direction, and we want to fix that. So we're not going to close the game, but we're going to go directly overhead like this and go back to Blender. We're going to select our pit, press delete or period or full stop on the numpad, and that will zoom us in. Now usually I like to load back in the track just so we can get our bearings, but I'm going to untick split by group so we can easily delete it this time. Now what we want to do is change the rotation. So I'm going to select all our new pits, and let's say our car was pointing 90 degrees to the right. I'm going to select our new pits and start. I'm going to hold Alt and change the Z rotation 90 degrees. Now there are a few things you will encounter that are pretty important to note, but before that I'm going to go to up here again. Instead of texture, I'm going to click random. If your track doesn't have textures, that will make things a bit easier to see. If our pits are going around a corner like this, you'll need to go row by row and change the rotation. But once you've already tested it in game like we have, and of course theoretically our pits were pointing 90 degrees to the right, so they're facing that way, what we're going to do is, so this is our front face, that's the way our car's facing. We're going to hold Alt and change the Z, so that face that was pointing upwards right now, that's going to follow the lines of the track. or what the way the track's facing. So let's do that again, but here. So now we're facing this way. We're going to rotate it even more just to follow the curvature of the track. Now, another thing you'll encounter is elevation. You don't want your car spawning underneath the track, so we're going to select our nodes. They're actually above the track right now, which is normal, but let's say they were slightly underground and you've already got them in position. What you want to do, G, then press Z. That'll only move on the Z axis, so up and down. Then you want to get them to a nice decent height. They can be on the ground, but you might experience some bugs, so I like to put them just above like that, and now they're at the correct elevation. Now if we go through that process again of saving it, then going into KS Editor and exporting it, etc., our car will now be pointing the right way. So that's how you add more pits. Drop a like, drop a comment if you have any questions, and I'll try to get back to you. Cheers.